Hey guys, so welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. So in this episode, we have a very special question that we're going to be doing and we're just going to stay with the first initial J. But Jay, you know who you are. And Jay would like to know, I think this is a really great question. I don't know if I've gotten this one. If I have, it's been a long time. But wants to know if she puts out something if she's manifesting something, if she's putting it out there to her higher self or to God or to the universe or whatever you want to call it, if she's going through the sort of the law of attraction actions that you can take in order to manifest things into your reality, she wants to know, is it going to come true? I mean, is this just some, is it valid? I mean, can we rely on it? So let's talk for just a moment while I'm shuffling these cards and kind of putting this together, kind of about law of attraction and kind of that whole philosophy. So the law of attraction, they have some really these little buzz phrases that people have sometimes put together, like the thoughts create things. That's one. So what you think about, you bring about. What you focus on, you attract. If you think it and believe it, it will show up on your doorstep. It's all these kind of things. And some people take this very literal. There's different gradations, actually, grades of belief about this. Some people say, well, it's just being practical. Like if you focus in a certain direction and you take certain necessary steps, eventually you're going to get what you want, right? Or some people say, no, if you just literally think about it, don't have to take any action whatsoever, but just believe and know in your heart of hearts that it's going to happen, that it's going to transpire and take place, that it'll show up, that God or the universe or your higher self or whatever will bring it to be for you. So you guys are probably curious about what a monk would say about this, and I'll be happy to share that with you. So my own vantage point, okay, and now this is just coming from a lot of, I study a lot of Sanskrit. Sanskrit's a very, very ancient, very, very old language. It's a sung language from way, way back when. So probably some people call it a dead language. But as far as it still being in existence, I know at least in India, there's at least 3 places that I know of where Sanskrit is like the spoken language. So it's like the main language in the small villages where people actually continue to speak Sanskrit. This is true. I've been to one of those places personally. And as a Sanskrit scholar and someone that studies it, I have probably the rare ability to be able to go in and to read a lot of these really ancient Sanskrit texts that have been written like thousands upon thousands of years ago. Some of them are so old that to get an exact date on when they were written is questionable. Like, so it could have been 10,000 years ago. It could have been 20,000 years ago. It could be, and so on and so forth. Well, one of the texts that I was reading once, and I'm not going to get into it because this is not I try to keep things less about religion and more about just doing tarot and helping people in this capacity. So I like to kind of, I don't want to put too much on people, especially different people watching this channel come from a myriad of different beliefs and different belief systems and all. And I think it's great. And, so I don't want to, impose on anybody else's belief systems or anything like that. So keep the religion kind of more or less out of it. If you guys are interested in learning more and stuff, you can reach out to me directly. Just check out the description below this video. I've got my number down there and email address. And if this is stuff that interests you and you're open-minded to it and you'd like to get a monk's perspective or learn more about this kind of thing, I'd be more than happy to share it with you. But we would need to do that probably outside the scope of this channel. But to stay on point here with kind of the direction I was going, there was one text, and there's a Sanskrit word, chitta, and it's, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's a word that it means like stuff, but it's like stuff that is really like, it's the particles like in the atmosphere that are not necessarily visible. And kind of the whole idea here is like, this chitta is actual material energy that comes together to create things. And when we think about things or we put intentions out there or we do that kind of thing, this chitta or stuff, matter, whatever you want to call it, it starts to take form. and then it starts to show up, and it's the situations, it's the realities, it's the things in this material universe that come about. Let's talk about just materialism for a minute and the material universe. The materialism or material universe is the universe that we find ourselves in. It's the what you see is what you get kind of reality. It's this is skin, this is body, this is the face, this is the shirt, this is beads. These are tarot cards. We can feel this. This is considered real. So material things, material objects. How do we know they're real? Well, we have our 5 senses. That's our ability to see things. We can see a tarot card as a tarot card. We can see anything, as long as we got eyes to see that are not blind or whatever. We can touch things, tactile functions and stuff. We can reach out and feel things and grab hold of them. That tells us that they're real. We can smell things, odors, good smelling food, bad smelling skunks, whatever it is, we can get a sense of something, and that tells us what it is or gives us a clue as to what it is. And so that just validates that that is in fact what it is. It's what it's defined as. Hearing, we can hear sounds and noises and things and get an understanding of like what's going on around us in this material universe. And of course, taste. If we nice tasting food, we can differentiate certain types of taste from other tastes to tell, well, this is this dish and this is this dish. This is sweet, this is sour, this is pungent, and so on and so forth. So we have these abilities to differentiate things, and these differentiations are what basically give us information to tell us that something is real and that it's out here and it's presented in this material universe. So it's very fascinating the way that this all kind of works. So people say, well, these are our 5 senses, and we have the 6th sense. And the 6th sense is what you think about, you can actually visualize in your mind. So you could visualize something in your mind like a pink elephant, for example. Like if you think about try not to think about a pink elephant, and you really can't help but think about a pink elephant, right? And you can see that in your mind. Now, have you ever seen a pink elephant, albeit maybe a stuffed animal, but an actual pink elephant? Maybe they exist, maybe they don't. But in our mind, we can visualize them existing. You see that shade of magenta or that shade of pink or whatever that shade is that you're seeing. It may be different than the shade that I'm seeing or the shade that Jay is seeing, who's probably watching this video right about now. But the point is that we have the ability to imagine it. Now, in our mind, it's real, right? We can imagine something. If we say, oh, if we want to manifest $1 million into our life, we could visualize $1 million in a briefcase that just shows up on our doorstep and just kind of visualize that and keep it in our mind. There may be some doubts or our critical thinking faculty may get in the way of being able to believe that would ever show up on our doorstep, or that if it did show up, maybe somebody would steal it off our doorstep, or that we would just kind of miss out on it, those kind of things. But is the potentiality there? Yeah, the potentiality is definitely there. The possibility is really there for things like that to come about. Spiritual energy has a way of creating things into material form. Case in point, we see like in religions, for example, see these aspects of God, whether it be Jesus or Buddha or Krishna or, any deity or whatever and stuff like that. We have this, some people say, well, this personality really did exist in a material form. Okay, fair enough. Like the body of Jesus really did exist. And there's a sarcophagus, and there's they found the cave, and like all these different, the tomb and all this kind of stuff. And there's these other people that was in the Bible, and it's dated, and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. We're drawing these conclusions, and this is what we come up with. And we say, well, yeah, it's pretty reasonable to assume that this was the case so that we could believe this. And it's at the end of the day, it all comes down to belief, right? Well, there may be some other things that are just far outside the scope of our ability to believe, just due to our own critical thinking faculty. We've been told so many different things in our lifetime that, it's sometimes we discredit things before we've even given them a fair chance, right? So as far as the law of attraction and being able to manifest things, is it possible? I think so, personally. I mean, that's my personal thing. I think all the things that we focus on or think about tend to come about at some point or other in our life. At least the opportunity does. And so I think that it's very possible and very real. So I'm not a naysayer or someone that disbelieves. I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to the law of attraction, to be honest with you, because of my own personal experiences that I've had, but also the experiences of having talked with other people who have had similar experiences. So am I going to say that everyone is going to manifest everything that they say that they're going to manifest? Probably not. But there's probably varying reasons as to that too. Maybe the person really doesn't believe it in the first place. Maybe it's the person that doesn't really think they're deserving of it or want it. And maybe it's just because of person's being difficult or just trying to prove that it doesn't work. And in the pursuit of proving it doesn't work, they get what they want, which is that it doesn't work. So anyways, those are kind of my 2 cents. I'm going to get off that soapbox for just a moment. We're going to actually do the tarot card reading for Jay and get an answer for her. See where we're at. Let's keep an open mind. Okay, so case in point. So we have the King of Cups. King of Cups is all about authority. So in order to be able to manifest things into your life, the King of Cups says you got to be able to understand your own feelings, your own emotions, and have authority over them. Not let other people dictate, what's possible, what's not possible. It has to be a firm conviction in yourself. That's what the King does. He represents authority, conviction. The King of Cups is all about emotions and relationships and having control to be able to be solo on his own as far as his decision-making skills and everything goes. At the end of the day, he knows it's his decision. Nothing else is going to interfere with that belief system. He's in full control over it. So that's what's needed. Then we have the Moon. Moon is a very hypnotizing card. This card is really about all about focus, about letting go of any negativity or negating that negativity or that critical thinking or anything that would hamper or stand in the way of you getting what you want when you're trying to manifest something. And then also, it's really all about the repetition of an idea over and over, like your persuasion about it. So it comes down to your belief and stuff as well. And what you put out there comes back to you. If you tell yourself enough times something is true, eventually you'll start to believe that it's true. Even if everything else, or if you've believed it wasn't true for so long, at some point you can convince yourself, I'm convinced anyway, that you can convince yourself that something is true, even if other people don't believe it's necessarily true. Why is that? It's the power of belief and it's the power of repetition. Repetition creates our persuasion. And the more persuaded you are about something, the more passionate you become about it. And the more passionate you become about it, the more likely it is to come about. And so this is really, and then finally, the last component of this is action. So if you're, the Moon is really about covering up things. Like you don't see everything for what it is. It's a very intuitive card. It really is about the law of attraction and action. This card, it's subconscious thinking. The human mind can only really process 5 to 9 bits of information or message units at any given moment. And I mean, if you try to think of a number that's got more than like 9 numbers in it and all, you start to like forget what the first few numbers were, or you get lost in translation. So, the ideal telephone number that we have is around 7 to 9 digits, right? And so that we can remember them. But nowadays with smartphones and things, people don't even take the time to remember other people's phone numbers and all. I remember my phone number, but I may not necessarily remember everyone in my contact book's phone number, or even people that I call rather frequently. And that's because we've become really conditioned on technology and different things at this point. Used to be though, but relatively speaking though, like if you're given like 9 different things, you may be able to remember all 9 things. Too much more than that, 11, 12, 15 things, you might start to not be able to focus or really understand those kind of things. That's what this card's really all about. It's sort of these unconscious things, unconscious ramblings, things like that. But it's about the potentiality of things. Moon's all about potential. And then eventually the sun comes out, highlights everything for us and makes everything really good. So yeah, so this is a definite for you as far as that. That's the advice the card gives you. And then the last card is the Hierophant. It's about tradition. And, it's about really, this is sort of like the Pope card. And it's about spirituality. And it's about, belief systems and what it is, that could hamper your manifestations, but could also help your manifestations, like putting things out there. What could hamper it? It could be your traditions, your belief systems, things that you grew up with, things that are kind of at the root of your core identity. And marketers oftentimes debate over this whole idea of identity and identity marketing and different things. But at the end of the day, this card here, this Hierophant, is really, it symbolizes like where we come from, and what our background is and what defines us. And based on your belief system and the way that you grew up and what other people had to say will definitely affect your ability to be able to manifest things into your life, because it affects your belief system, right? If you grew up with open-minded family, people that encouraged you in that direction and stuff like that, it may be very easy for you to bring things into your reality than it might be for other people that grew up in a vastly different way, more of a rigid way. Maybe it was a very much more conservative, or where there was a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And if you didn't do things the right way, well, you were doing things the wrong way. So if there's that black and white, that rigidity and stuff there that comes from your then it may be more challenging for you to bring things into your reality. But knowing that, you can actually just kind of take a leap of faith, kind of put it aside, sidestep, your conditioning, and then just say, okay, make up your mind that, well, I'll test this anyway and just see what happens with it, and keep an open mind. As long as you're keeping an open mind, letting the power of your unconscious mind take its toll, and then being in control of your emotions and not letting other things get in the way of your beliefs or your understanding of the way that things work, and keeping that belief system going, you'll be able to manifest things into your reality. I'm convinced of it. The key is to convince yourself. So anyways, that's the tarot card reading. I hope it helps you. Again, this was a really fun one. I really enjoy this topic. It's one that is one that a lot of people maybe have questioned or had opinions about. I know back in the day they had a book called The Secret. Rhonda Burns, I think, was the author of it, or someone. But they've, over the years, I think Norman Vincent Peale was one of the great New Thought leaders, and there was, of course, Joseph Murphy. He was a big person in the law of attraction movement and stuff, and he wrote several books like The Power of the Subconscious Mind and this, that, and the other. All books that are worth reading if you're into this kind of thing. If you'd like to learn more about law of attraction, I would definitely highly recommend you check out some of those resources. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification so that when we come on, you can actually get your questions answered in online, over the air, on these live streams. I enjoy doing them. And I enjoy this particular service a lot because it allows me to connect with people on a lot of different levels, which as a monk, I'm not always able to do, because a lot of times people that come to me for spiritual advice or different things, or for maybe they have problems or they're in a certain kind of situation, it's mostly when people are in need that they come. In this kind of a capacity and all, it's sort of like I can connect with people from many different types of walks of life, who have different types of needs that as a monk I might not be able to reach otherwise. So that's one of the reasons I really like this service. And I've been psychic ever since I was a small child. Of course, I've told that story before on the channel. I won't reiterate it here right now today, but maybe perhaps again in the future. Or if you want to know, you can always reach out to me directly. In fact, all my information is in the description below this video. If you want a tarot card reading, if you want to reach out to me by phone or text, or if you want to email me, it's all down there. If you'd like to help support the monks, my service in particular, you can just go to helpbydonating.com. And that's really appreciated. And that's really probably the biggest way that you can really help out right now. But we can definitely use the money and the help and the support. So if you're a giver, if you like to help people, and if it's in your heart to do it, please do so. If it's not, by all means don't. But also, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. So if you need anything, please reach out. I'm always here for you. Much love, many blessings, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Indirect Knowledge.